Third time's a charm. Hi, everybody. We are live. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy to finally get the tech stuff working. Sometimes tech just does tech, and I'm doing my best to keep up. So thanks for hanging with me. We are live on Instagram. We are live on YouTube. We are live on LinkedIn. And these are also available for replay. If you're ever like, I just want to listen to this while I'm going for a walk. I get that a lot when I'm guesting on podcasts. So you can always reach out. But I am not going to procrastinate on today's conversation. I'm being cute here, but we are talking about procrastination, and I want to make sure that today is something that you don't kick the can on. There are so many reasons why we procrastinate in accounting, in law, in consulting. And I'm telling you, you don't want to procrastinate on today's episode. One of my clients came to me because she was experiencing major procrastination and she was seeing the cost it was having on her. And too long don't read, TLDR, long story short, she was burning out. So let me welcome you to, if this is your first episode, let me welcome you. Hi. Welcome to Billable-Hour Burnout. If you're looking for helpful, tactical advice that actually helps you move towards the direction and the career of your dreams, you are in the right place. If you want to finally enjoy your life that you spent decades building without the stress or the overwhelm, you are in the right place. You're finding yourself here today because you're looking for more work-life balance, more ease, more confidence, and you're ready to make it happen without having to burn down your career, quit your job, or change your life. My name is Lauren Baptiste, your Big Four auditor turned regulatory tax consultant turned life coach, and this is Billable-Hour Burnout. On these shows, I share simple tactics, tricks, tools, mindset shifts specifically catered to the modern accountant, consultant, and attorney. You ready? Let's go. It's Thursday, and I want to dive in with a client success story. This comes from my client, Kritika, who is a senior program officer. She came to me because she was noticing where she was in her career wasn't where she wanted to be. It was having an effect, and it was even showing up in her ratings. She noticed, I used to be a high performer. What's going on? Something's got to change. So she came to me for help. In our work together, she says, this is the first time I've ever worked with a coach. It's different than when you're venting to coworkers, friends, or even talking to a therapist. I feel like it's been so helpful to have a coach that's mapped out exactly what I wanted, and to feel like through the conversations, Lauren understands the context of what I'm going through, and she holds me accountable to the goals that we outlined. It's been really helpful to have a professional coach like her in my life. Thank you, Kritika. It's been an honor working with you. And I'm always just so happy for my clients. I love hearing the stories that they tell me months after they graduate. I love hearing their successes when we're working together. I've had clients who are even a lot of clients, even last week when I started with a client, after the first day was like, wow, I'm so happy I'm in the right place. So I love sharing these stories because they're just fun to share. And it just tells us we can go from a place of not feeling so good to feeling way better. And I show you how to do that. Now, a little update just about me and what's going on, because I think that's fun to do too. Yesterday, I presented for the Westchester Women's Bar Association, the WWBA. I spoke on putting an end to billable-hour burnout. So we were talking about the cost of being a woman in the profession of law. And we had a really dynamic conversation of, stay in law, leave law, what do I do? How do I handle it? Juggling kids, lacrosse practice, all of the things came up because they all contribute to the idea of billable-hour burnout. We're not just showing up for how we are with our clients, but we're also showing up for how it appears when we're trying to manage a court appearance. All of the things matter. We need to make sure we're handling all of it. And so that was a really wonderful, get together. And then also this week, a lot of law things happening right now. I'm in week 2 of my lawyer well-being program. This is for 200 employees, and it was our second session. As a little, behind the scenes, it ends up being 14 sessions, but in the 3 months, what we're doing is we're having a concept, a masterclass, and then we're following up with coaching through the masterclass. So we had a masterclass that I went through with the professionals that covered mindset and stress and how we can move out of stress when we manage our mind. And wellness really starts there. That's one step that I believe gets skipped. We go right into tactics, and I don't think that is the ultimate answer. I think tactics help when we have a strong mindset. So we did mindset, and then we did coaching this week, which was wonderful. And it was just really wonderful to hear what's coming up. So we had conversations covering anything from finding balance when as a loved one's going through a hard illness, to figuring out how to even do the mindset thing. That is the real stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And we're helping these professionals at this law firm. So there's lawyers, there's law staff, there's those that support the law staff behind the scenes that are all experiencing the burn. And I'm just here to hold space for them and support them through their moment of burnout. So I'm just very grateful to be able to make the impact that I'm making. I'm grateful to be doing this work, and it lights me up. So I wanted to share it with you. So hopefully it lights you up. Personally, I wanted to share, so this is fun. You're going to laugh when I say fun. This is when you start to know how old I am. But I am finding a new cleaner for my house. And why do I find this fun? This is fun because old me used to say, I'll do it myself to save a couple bucks. And I realized the value of delegating tasks that give me more time for me. And by doing this, I feel better when my house is decluttered and when my house is clean. And I feel even better when I don't have to do it. And when I delegate this task, not only am I feeding the economy and I'm helping someone else make a living, I'm also able to focus on my clients more. I'm able to take that hour that I'm not cleaning, or the few hours, I should say, because they spend a lot more time than an hour. Maybe I would do a quick hour clean, but then I can come here and do this podcast. I can take that extra time and write a blog post. I could take this extra time and bring on extra clients. So I love this. Someone's coming today. We're doing an interview. It should be good. I'm just excited to keep finding ways that I can better my life and stop procrastinating on it so that you can stop procrastinating. So, speaking on procrastination, I want to dive into today's topic. And I wanted to start with quotes. I love these quotes. I wanted to read them to you. I just find them fun. So, these are procrastination quotes I found. The first one is: procrastination is the art of keeping up with yesterday. Procrastination is the art of keeping up with yesterday. Okay. That one, I'm like, okay, I'm into it. We're just getting started. The second one I really like. This one's Benjamin Franklin. You may delay, but time will not. You may delay, but time will not. Oof, that one stings a little. Okay, the third one I thought was fun. Procrastination is like a credit card. It's a lot of fun until you get the bill. That one's from Christopher Parker. I don't even know who Christopher Parker is, so somebody fill me in on who that is. But I like the quote. Procrastination is like a credit card. It's a lot of fun until you get the bill. How true is that? It's like usually a lot of people are stressing in January because of the holiday spending, or you come back for vacation and you're like, wow, we had way too much fun while we were away. Procrastination is real. And so it's like a credit card. And this is something we don't want to put off. We don't want to put this off. So I told you my client came to me because she was noticing the procrastination was turning into burnout. And when we started working together, I'm taking you behind the scenes today, it started looking like, well, first I gathered the data, right? We're building awareness on what are the habits that the procrastination is creating and what's the cost of it. So she would tell me I'm procrastinating on not sending invoices to my clients, which means I'm not getting paid regularly, which then means it has a ripple effect at home where my spouse and I are quibbling, right? Or quibbling. Time lost, right? There's current me now that doesn't want to do the task at the cost of future me doing it later. So maybe I have a luscious lunch and a spacious lunch to watch a TV show, but then it's at the cost of not having the evening with my family, right? So we started to notice how the effect of procrastination was playing into her patterns. And we noticed it was specifically showing up when she was at her client's office. Why? Because she would go into the office and her employees liked, or her clients would love catching up with her. The employees at the client site, they would be like, "Oh, we're so happy you're here." And every week she shows up and they're like, "Let's talk cooler talk, right? Let's talk about what's going on." So she's building relationships. You can say in one way, she's actually helping her client, right? But it's at the cost of her time. She would tell me that as she was wrapping up for the day, someone would be like, "Hey, real quick, can you just do this one task?" Awkward, right? Because you're trying to leave. And then you have to go to your next client site if you work in bookkeeping like she does. She was also kind of sabotaging herself. She would be working, right? Because when we have our own solo or small firm business, we can work on a flexible schedule. Does it matter if I go to my client on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or Thursday? No. But when we communicate, okay, I'll be there sometime on Wednesday, that still is very vague. So what we noticed is that there was flexibility that was having a cost on her life. The flexibility was coming because she didn't want this idea of structure. Structure meant I have to be so rigid, right? But because she wasn't inviting more structure, she noticed her flexibility meant work was happening on at night. It meant structureless days meant no free time for herself. She wasn't getting quality time with her husband. It meant she was constantly feeling stressed on Sundays and Mondays because she didn't do what she needed to do the work before. So we built the awareness. That was first and foremost. But what she came to realize was that current self, right now in this moment, was sabotaging future self. And that always doesn't feel good on the other side. I'm going to try not to curse on this as much. So current self was sabotaging future self. And once we built that awareness, it was gold. We took that moment and we said, okay, we're going to build a process for procrastination and we're going to do it right now. And I'm going to share that process with you today. So here's what we came up with. Prior to walking into her client site, we decided we need to figure out what needs to be accomplished. Is it a meeting? Is it payroll? Is it bill pay? You need to know exactly what you need to accomplish at your client site that day. Great. Number two, we need to decide on an amount of time that work will take us. Okay, is it going to be 2 hours? Is it 4 hours? Is it 6 hours? To me, it doesn't matter how long that takes per se for today's episode. For a future episode, we could talk about that. But we decide, okay, if it's going to take 4 hours to do the things I need to do, then I need to decide that I'm going to get it done in 4 hours. Now, here's what I don't want, right? We don't want to get our work done at the cost of losing the relationships. She really enjoyed speaking with the employees at the client sites, and she didn't want to forego that. But we decided we're going to buffer a short bit of time for relationship building. So if she's there for 4 hours, maybe she says, okay, I'm going to be there up to 4.5 hours and save the last bit of time for the relationship building. But it's got to happen after the things I have to do. She decided, I'm going to hold myself accountable for getting it done. And then also avoiding distractions, not letting the little interruptions get in the way of the big thing. And I'm adding one more step to this right now. And I know we've talked about this, but I actually didn't document it, but I actually love the idea of this. We are also going to, and I just lost it. It was so good. That's why I stick to my process and write my script. Okay, that's fine. It'll come back and I'll put it in the comments, or I'll bring it up here. But let's go through it again. So we're deciding what needs to be done when it needs to be done. We need to decide on the amount of time that you're going to be there too. We're going to buffer in a short amount of time for the relationship building. 3, I remember, I'm going to put this in as number 4 right now. You're going to proactively arrive to the client site and say, Anyone need anything today that's outside of the things that I'm going to be doing, right? Instead of getting a last minute, oh, wait, before you leave. No. You say, hey guys, if there's anything you need, let me know now. I need to know by 11 o'clock, for example, or I'm going to have to wait till it'll have to wait till next week, right? Start to create accountability, not only for yourself, but for your clients. Hi, I'm here. What needs to be done today, right? That fourth step, so crucial. I'm so happy I remembered it for you. Magic. Number 5. So we talked about holding ourselves accountable to getting it done in that period of time. So practicing constraint to get the task done in the amount of time we said. We agreed to 4 hours. I'm going to get it done in 4 hours. I buffered 30 minutes for relationship time. I'm going to do that. I'm going to walk in and say, hey, what does everybody need today? And if someone gives me that last minute thing, I'm so sorry, that's going to have to wait. Or I could take care of it tomorrow, but I'm not going to be able to do it from the client site, right? We can work with our clients. We can be flexible, but we also need to have structure, and that's the win-win. And then number 6, wrapping this up, avoiding distractions, not letting the little interruptions get in the way, not the phone text, not Google an XYZ thing. What I like to do, and this is just me ad-libbing here, but I like to have a piece of paper and I keep a list. If I'm in very focused mode and something comes to mind, I'm like, oh, I have to call the gardener today or something like that. I don't have a gardener, but imagine that comes up. You can write it down and say, call gardener. And that way it moves out of your mind and you could go back to focusing on the task at hand. And then when you come back, you have your list of like the other things you have to do ready and waiting for you. So that's a win-win formula for avoiding procrastination at the client site. Now, I want to give you a little bonus because we took this one step further. How we do one thing is how we do everything. If we are procrastinating at the client site, there's a good chance we're also procrastinating at home. We're procrastinating on paying our bills. We're procrastinating on walking the dog until they're like crossing their legs, like, please take me outside. We're procrastinating on making dinner because we're tired and we don't feel like it. We're procrastinating. But imagining we're just focusing on working from home, because I know working from home for some of us still is not the easiest thing. So let's translate what I just shared to your process at home. Step 1, prior to the week beginning, create a plan on what needs to be accomplished this week. Now we know we can't foresee everything that's going to come, but we can make a plan of what's going to be done at least the next day. We're going to decide on the amount of time to do the tasks that are on the list. We want to make sure, is this reasonable? If I have these 5 tasks to do, can I actually do them within one workday, or does it need to spill into a second workday? Step 3, right? We're going to buffer in time for bio breaks, puppy walks, time with your spouse, sitting outside post lunch, taking a breather. We need to buffer in time for those things because we don't. And then what happens is we get really surprised why we don't get through our things every day. The next step, right? You can even add in this bonus step that I said. So step 4, if I don't know, sometimes we don't want to ask for work, but it might be helpful if there's someone you like directly report with, or you know something's coming. You could say, hey, any updates, anything I should be aware of before I start the day? Otherwise, I'm going to be heads down. I'm not looking at my email for a few hours. Do you need me for anything? Right? We can have this honest, open conversation where I don't need to be micromanaged. I could do my work, but also just like checking in as a team player. Win-win. Step 5, hold yourself accountable to the time you said you're going to get stuff done. Avoid distractions. Don't let the chats on Slack or Teams or whatever you use get in the way of getting your stuff done. And then what we do from here, whether we're working at a client site or we're working at home or we're practicing procrastination anywhere else in our life, is we evaluate. We try it for a little bit of time, give it a couple of weeks and see, did this work? What went well? What didn't go well? What will we do different? We tweak the plan if needed, and then we implement the new plan and we repeat the plan until we hone it in. And so here's what happened to my client. When we practice this, on the first round, we haven't even had to go through the evaluation stages of it yet, but by working through this plan for procrastination, she found herself working less on the weekends. She noticed a decrease in her stress because she didn't see all these tasks piling up. She was able to work through them in a steady flow. Be surprised here with this one. She started to enjoy structure because it created time freedom. And what I love is we stopped thinking about structure like being put in a cage, but instead of we put it like guardrails on the side of a cliff, right? You want the guardrail to be there when you're driving over right next to a cliff. You want, if you're a kiddo, right? Or maybe you're not that good at bowling, maybe like me, you want the bumpers in there so you don't get a gutter ball. You want that protection. You want that structure because it creates freedom. Less time procrastinating for her meant more time, more availability for those that she loved, for her friends, for her family, doing the things that she enjoyed. It was an ultimate win-win. So, what am I here to tell you today? Procrastination is one of those things that we're going to keep pushing off until it burns us, literally, burn out. But I'm here to tell you that it can be way better. You can get in front of your procrastination, and I can help you do that. In my one-on-one coaching program, Freedom, I give my clients the tools to build the awareness of the habits that don't serve them, like procrastination. And we create a strategy to overcome the stressors that are arising that's impacting life at work and at home, just like for my client. Now, the only way you can do that is to take and make a decision right now. You need to make a decision right now to not let your procrastination keep getting the best of you. I'm laughing, but it's true. If we keep delaying, it's only going to delay the results that we want. And so the best way we can prevent that is to take action right now. So if you're still watching this, I'm inviting you to sign up for a 60-minute consultation with me. I'm going to help understand the root cause of your procrastination, and I'm going to show you a step-by-step plan of how to get out of it. This is one of those things you're just not going to want to put off. And I wanted to wrap up with this quote. The greatest amount of time wasted is the time not getting started, by Dawson Trotman. I also don't know who that is, but that's okay. The greatest amount of time wasted is the time you are not getting started. Why put off the inevitable? Here's what I know to be most true about procrastination. Not only does it hurt now because you're kicking the can, there's a temporary relief when you actually kick it, but the pain is prolonged. There's a pain of now of like, oh, I have to do this thing. Let me push it off a week. But then there's a pain when you have to actually do it next week. And there's more pressure and there's more stress and there's more constraint. And you don't need that. You don't need that. So that's my invitation. Join me. Come on a consult. Let's talk through your procrastination. Let's end that habit and let's start having a life that feels so much better. I love that this is where my client is at in her journey through procrastination. And I'm so happy to take you behind the scenes on that journey. So here is my offer as we're ending today's call. Take that action. Take one small action. Raise your hand, book that consult, take that next step. I will link it wherever in these show notes on all the places. I'll link it. And that's it. That's really the end of today's show. So thank you so much for joining for today's episode on a process for procrastination, not only at the client site, but at home. So I hope you enjoyed that bonus bit. I wanted to share, this is me making the announcement for the first time. On Thursday, May 30th, that's 2 weeks from today, I am doing my next webinar. This was one of my most popular webinars from last year, and I'm doing a replay. How to accomplish more without doing more. I'm doing it different this time, but I'm using the same concepts, but I'm adding more to it. So if you joined last year, re-register because you're going to get even more value. And if you didn't join last year, you're going to want to make sure you're there because I'm setting you up for success to have the best summer ever. Everyone tells me the summer is more stressful than the rest of the year. Planning, I call it like FedExing or logisticking all the travel, chauffeuring your kids around from A to B to C because they're not in school, still trying to deal with all the deadlines while half your team is out on vacation. It's not easy. It's not an easier time just because it's warmer out or because the weather's better. take action and join me next week. All right. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, drop a comment and let me know what you think. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. You can find me wherever you hang. I'm likely there too. And I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for joining. This is our 14th episode, if I'm counting correctly. If you want to learn more about me, Lauren Baptiste, you can visit my website, achelowawellness.com. That's ACHELOA, wellness spelled out.com. Learn more about me, my firm, my one-on-one program, Freedom, and how you can end procrastination once and for all. All right, I'll leave you there. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Take care, everybody.